Retro toys are making a huge comeback for Christmas. Titanic is returning to theaters, and there's going to be a DUNE remake. And we've got all that news and more coming up. What up to my peoples? Welcome back to Retro Crunch, your nostalgia news show that is all about current pop culture, movies, music, and games that relates to all things 70s, 80s, and 90s. So it's the holiday season, and what's on people's minds? Family, food, and toys. But let's skip right to the toys. What's totally awesome is that a bunch of those old toys we grew up with that are pretty simple compared to the electronic wonders of today are popular again. And you don't have to take my word for it. You can just check the shelves at your local Toys R Us or Target and see for yourself. Retailers are stocking up on retro toys like Tomagachis, Teddy Ruxpins, Rubiks Cubes, and many other retro toys. There's even a huge surge in artisan-style board games like Yahtzee, Monopoly, and Connect 4, which are basically just like classic board games that are made out of wood. And with the recent popularity of electronics like the NES and SNES Classic, and even the Atari box that's supposed to come out next year, the retro toy boom looks like it's just getting better and better. Now there's no doubt that the entertainment industry is helping to drive the retro toy market, with shows like the Goldbergs and Stranger Things introducing kids to these toys for the first time. But with toys like Gumby and Stretch Armstrong becoming popular again, it seems like kids are maybe getting more interested in toys that they can hold and play with. I'm going to link to a few articles down below that list some of the more popular retro toys to look for this holiday season. And let me know in the comments if you see any cool retro toy trends that I might have missed. And next up, we got some retro movie news. Did you know that on December 1st, in honor of its 20th anniversary, the blockbuster Titanic is going to be re-released in theaters? It's going to be showing in 2D and 3D, so those that didn't get to see it in theaters back in 1997, now's your chance. Titanic is the second highest grossing movie of all time, and this re-release is going to be remastered with state-of-the-art Dolby technology, so it could be worth seeing. I'm pretty excited about it, even if I already know the ending. Also, in some of my favorite news for the week, there's going to be a DUNE reboot. And I'm particularly excited about this because it's going to be directed by Denis Villeneuve, and he is going back to the sci-fi novel as his reference for the remake. I really loved the original 1984 DUNE movie that was written and directed by David Lynch, but I really have a lot of confidence in this retelling of the epic novel because Villeneuve directed the new Blade Runner 2049, and that movie was one of the best sequels that I have ever seen. So I really think he's going to do the novel justice with this remake. And for those that remember Nickelodeon's 1990s show, Are You Afraid of the Dark? It's going to be made into a movie. And it's being written by the same guy who was involved in the movie Annabelle and the 2017 horror movie It. So I'm pretty sure it's going to scare the pants off of some people. And next in retro music news, I have an update on Prince's vault of music recordings that the Prince fans might not be too happy about. According to Variety.com, some of Prince's music in his vault at the Paisley Park Studios has suffered from some mold, water damage, and some degradation. This is pretty serious news considering that some of the music and assets that are stored there are originals, and the quality of the audio and video may be extremely degraded. There are court reports that state that some of the assets had rust containers, smelled of vinegar, and the rooms were wet and moldy. These findings may help the family heirs in getting better representation for the managing and handling of Prince's assets, which they have been fighting for since late 2016. And that's it for the news, but here's a little blast from the past. This week in history. On November 12, 1993, the first ever Ultimate Fighting Championship event, UFC 1, was held in Denver, Colorado. The first UFC fight was an 8-man tournament bracket. There were no weight classes, rounds, timeouts, or judges, and the fights only ended with a submission, knockout, or throwing in of the towel. It's a far cry from the UFC that we know of today. Anyway, Royce Gracie won the belt and went on to win many more in the future. And that's all the retro news that I have for you this week. If you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on the retro stuff that we talk about every Monday and Friday. I hope you enjoy the show, and I'll see you in the next video. And remember, if it ain't retro, it ain't worth watching.